This continues today. Rwanda News were Rwandan peacekeepers comprising of both army and police personnel serving under the United Nations missions for South Sudan joined forces with the Rwandan diaspora and the Society for Family Health in South Sudan to conduct a community outreach activity focused on malaria prevention at Magatin Internally Displaced Persons Camp in Juba. The initiative aimed at supporting the well-being of the IDBC brought together peacekeepers, community members, and partner organizations in coordinated campaign to reduce the risk and impact of malaria. During the outreach, the participants engaged in killing overgrown vegetation, eliminating mosquito breeding sites, educating residents on malaria prevention methods, and distributing the mosquito repellents of families living in the camp. Speaking at the event, Colonel Uwizeyimana, commander of the Rwanda Bath 3 contingent and representative of the Rwanda peacekeepers in UNIMIS, emphasized the importance of the collaboration between peacekeepers and the local community, encouraged the residents to actively maintain a clean environment by removing bushes and stagnant water, crucial steps in preventing malaria transmission. Malaria continues to pose a serious health care challenge in Magatin, located on the outskirts of Juba. This outreach activity underscores the shared commitment to Rwandan peacekeepers, diaspora groups, and health organizations to improving the living condition and health outcomes of the displaced residents. Turning to our next story, the leadership of Rwamagana District has announced the launch of the new initiative called Smart Rwamagana, a major program aimed at improving hygiene and addressing unplanned construction in the district. This was highlighted on October 12, 2025 at the conclusion of a 3-day retreat that brought together members of the district council, leaders from partner institutions, and other representatives of the district employees down to the village level, and the retreat took place in Wijesa district. Rwamagana District Mayor Mbonyi Muvunyi explained that Smart Rwamagana is an initiative that has long been in their plans, with the concept and primarily proposal already in place, and they are now ready to implement it. He also noted that some activities have already started in collaboration with various partners. The governor of the Eastern Province, Prudence Rwingisa, who was among the initiators of the Smart Kigali, pledged support to Rwamagana leaders by helping them acquire a vehicle monitor hygiene in the city. He encouraged them to launch the initiative with the strength and commitment to ensure its success. Now let's turn our focus to this story, where the Nyamasheke District Administration, in collaboration with various partners, has launched a new strategy to combat stunning through distributing chickens to cooperatives, with them to be responsible for supplying eggs to nearby early childhood development homes. This initiative comes after it was discovered with the previous approach of giving chickens directly to households with children under 2 that was not yielding satisfactory results, as some beneficiaries would sell the chicken or fail to feed them properly, resulting into low egg production. Mukansila, the vice mayor of social affairs in Nyamasheke district, told Igihe one of the factors helped reduce child stunning was encouraging parents to feed their children with eggs. These 2,000 chickens have potential to lay at least 1,800 eggs daily, meaning that every day the ACD homes in these sectors will receive no fewer than 180 eggs free of charge. Let's take a short break. We'll be back into the international news.
Bakiriya bacu, turabamenyesha ko Danobe Home yabaye Smart Home. Ni impinduka zigamije kongera ibicuruzwa byiza kandi biramba, by'umwihariko ku biciro bibanogeye n'uburyo bwo kwishyura buboroheye. Wadusanga aho dukorera KBC Kimihurura, cyangwa ugasura urubuga rwacu wa/smarthome.rawa. Wanaduhamagara cyangwa se ukatwandikira ku murongo wa telefone ukurikira 0788 90 50 90.
Let's take a look into the international news where Hamas has released 7 hostages in the custody of the Red Cross on the Monday morning, the first to be released as part of the ceasefire agreed to be in the Israel-Hamas war. The deal involves the exchange of last 48 hostages in Gaza by Hamas, 20 of whom are thought to be alive, and over 900 Palestinian prisoners are to be released by Israel. Meanwhile, the United States President Donald Trump landed in Israel on Monday before addressing the Knesset, the country's parliament. Sandra Tumkund proceeds.
Let's start our international news on Africa. Voters in Cameroon went to the polls on Sunday in presidential election that is widely expected to see 92 years old Paul Biya, Africa's longest-serving leader, extend his 42-year rule for another 7 years. If victorious, President Biya would be 99 years old by the end of this new term, continuing his reign in national grappling with profound security and economic challenges. Political experts anticipate a win for Biya, who cast his ballot amid tight security at primary school in the nation's capital, Yaoundé. Having ascended to power in 1982 following the resignation of Cameroon's first president, he has since been declared the victory in 7 consecutive elections. Since gaining independence from France in 1960, the Central African nation has had only 2 leaders. Biya's health and frequent extended stays in Elo have long been subjected of speculation, with daily governance often delegation to senior official and family members. President Biya faces a field of 9 opposition candidates, though the electoral system heavily favors the incumbent. Cameroon employs a single-round voting process where the candidate with the most votes win, eliminating the possibility of runoff that could unite opposition support. His challenge could several farmers, allies, and appointees such as Bello Buba Maigali, a former tourism minister, and Issa Chiloma Bakali, who until recently served as the employment minister. This fragmentation of the opposition is seen as a key factor in securing Biya's anticipated victory. Turning to our next story, 48 Hamas captives are said to be released, with 20 told to be alive. Israel is set to free over 1,900 Palestinian prisoners in return. Hamas released 7 hostages to Israeli custody on Monday morning, the first to be returned as part of the ceasefire deal agreed between Israel and Hamas. The condition of this freed was not immediately clear, but it was confirmed that they had been handed over to the Israeli military via the Red Cross. The rest of the hostages are said to be released later in the day, with living hostage expected to come first. The deal involves the exchange of the last 48 hostages held in Gaza by Hamas, 20 of whom are thought to be alive. Over 1,900 Palestinian prisoners are to be released by Israeli. Families and friends of the captive could be seen chilling as Israeli television channels announced that the hostages had been turned over the Red Cross in Gaza, after which they were handed over to the Israeli military, which will take them to the Lame military base to be reunited with their family. 250 Palestinians who are serving lifetime or long sentence in Israeli prisons are expected to be released, as well as 1,700 who were detained in Gaza Strip during the war and held without charge. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump is expected to land in Israel on Monday for addressing the country's parliament. He will later head to Egypt to meet with other world leaders and discuss the U.S. proposed deal, which resulted in ceasefire between Hamas and Israel and the exchange of hostages and 4 Palestinian prisoners. Let's conclude our international news on this one. The protest comes weeks after a similar anti-migration protest turned violent in the huge, with looters and policy clashing. Later this month, the Netherlands is expected to hold a snap election. At least 29 people were arrested in Amsterdam on Sunday after an anti-migration demonstration escalated. Several local media outlets reported. The march and the speeches that preceded it were largely peaceful. Protesters gathered at the Mozambican around noon on Sunday before marching through the Dutch capital. The organizers of the event, Netherlands in Optistand, had urged participating to stay on the designated march route which had been respected. Nation laws later in the afternoon when demonstrators ventured into the city center after the march ended. According to local media, protesters set off fireworks, chanted anti-immigration slogans, and damaged public property, resulting in multiple arrests. Hundreds of people also gathered for a counter-demonstration against fascism and racism. These protests also remained peaceful. The anti-immigration-led floors shortly after a similar demonstration was held in the Uj, where hundreds attended and violence broke out as rioters clashed with police, set a car on fire, and vandalized the office of political party. The protests come as the Netherlands is set to hold a snap election on 29th October after the country's ruling government collapsed when far-right Party for Freedom leader Geert Wilders withdrew his ministers over disagreement on migration policy. Sandra Tumukunti, Mama Rwagasabo TV.
As we come to the news edition today, let's go back with the news headlines. Rwandan troops join forces with diaspora and CFH for malaria outreach in Juba. On the international scene, Hamas releases 7 hostages as United States President Donald Trump arrives in Israel. Dozen arrested after anti-immigration protests in Amsterdam escalates. Thanks for having me. Stay tuned.